could just finish. Can you just finish, please? Yes. Thank you. Hey guys, what's up? So if you are new to this space, if you're new to my videos, my name is Jamie. I live in Belize and I recently built a tiny house. And in this video, I'm going to share some of my tips that I think can be beneficial for persons who are applying for a mortgage. So I'm going to share 3 important things that I think will help you have a good experience in general. All right, so the first thing is go prepared. Banks need certain information in order to let you know what you qualify for. When I first went into the bank, just to do the inquiry, just to see what I qualified for, I did that in October of 2021. We're in 2023 and I just recently completed building in December of 2022. When I went in to do the inquiry, I just went in to ask what the information that they needed would be. They asked for 2 sets of documents. So the first set of documents that they ask for are your profile documents. So these are the documents that let the banks know who you are. A quick disclaimer, the bank that I went through to get my mortgage is the National Bank of Belize. So all of the information that I'm sharing is based on my experience with National Bank. So you'll provide them with proof of identification, proof of address, and proof of income. That's your profile information. So with the identification, you can only take your passport or your social security card. They don't accept any other form of identification. With your proof of address, you'd need to take a bill in your name that shows where you live. If you don't have a bill with your name that shows where you live, you can ask the person that you're living with, or you can ask your landlord, whoever it is, to write a letter. So in my case, it was my dad. So I took the letter to my dad. My dad filled out the information that, confirming that this is my daughter and this is where she lives. And along with that letter, he needed to submit a bill showing that the address in the letter corresponds with the letter on the bill. For proof of income, you'd need to bring in a job letter and 2 months payslip. If you're an entrepreneur, you can bring in your statements, you can bring in monthly records to show, what money comes into the business and how you pay yourself. But anything related to how you make your money, that's what you bring in. The bank will also ask for you to share copies of your bank statements. And this is typically if you have existing loans. They want to see what your spending habits are, what your assets look like, anything related to the money that you have for the month. That's what you'd bring in. So savings, any bank statements, credit card statements, take all of that with you. You might think it's not important, but trust me, down the line, they will ask for all of your banking activity. Some other information that they will ask for is what you spend your money on within the month. So what your bills look like, if you pay a phone bill, if you pay a water bill, if you pay a light bill, if you have a courts bill, if you have a car payment or anything like that, any kind of money that comes out of your account to pay towards something that you owe for the month, they want to see all of that. If you have it electronically, that can also work. So the second type of documents that they need, other than your profile information, are the documents related to the build. So they will need a blueprint, a CBA authorized blueprint of the home that you intend to build. And I will tell you, the process to draft up a sketch for a home takes quite a long time. It will not take 2 weeks. It won't take even a month. It may take, I think, maybe a minimum of 3 months. And even that is being optimistic. For me, working with my architect, I started in March and I did not get CBA approval until the following year, April. So for me, it took almost a year in order to get CBA approval. And this is just based on a whole lot of different factors. So if you're working with an architect, it's typical that they will also be working with other persons. They'll be working with a quantity surveyor. They'll be working with an engineer. They'll be working with an electrician to make sure that the plans they draft up meet all of the standards of the building codes for Belize. And then when they finish all of that and submit that to CBA, it also needs to come with the approvals from PSU, the Public Service Utilities. I think that's what they're called. If not, I'll just put it on screen. They'll also need to show to CBA that there is an established water connection and there's an established power connection to the area that you're going to be building. And you have to really look at the times in the year when you're applying, when you're going through this process. For the times for me that I was applying for, you know, getting the water and light installed and doing all of these submissions, it was during the Christmas period. So everything slows down during the latter part of the year. From September to December, it's a really, really slow period here in Belize because September is our celebration month. We have a lot of holidays in September. And then in November, we have celebration as well. And then everybody's gearing up for Christmas and the break. A lot of people go on vacation for this period. A lot of people take leave because their kids are going back to school. So you want to have all of that in mind. But anyways, going back to the documents that you need an approved plan for the house. And that approved plan comes with its own, you know, delays and time. So if you know that you're planning on getting a mortgage, go to an architect for now. Go now. And you think you won't need it, but trust me, you will. Even if the architect is your brother or your friend, the bank will still want an officially approved document by the Central Building Authority. They won't take something that was made in 1997. They won't take a plan that you drafted up because especially with the National Bank of Belize, it is a government-owned bank. So they have to make sure that you're following the laws, the guidelines, the policies as it relates to building here in Belize. So in addition to the approved plan from CBA, you'd need a building plan. And this is the building plan specific to the works that you're going to undertake, that your contractor is going to undertake when you begin construction. One of the things that the bank asked me for was information on my contractor as well, to make sure that they're a reputable contractor. This is all part of their due diligence because one of the things that banks find is that people run out of money. And that's typically because, you know, there's not a plan in place. People ask their friends to help them build their homes. And in the beginning, this might feel cost effective and it might feel quicker. You might think it's more beneficial, but in the long run, you want someone who is experienced, but also is really good at what they do. The second reason why they ask for this work plan is because the banks do not give you the full amount that you're asking for in one go, not in Belize. They give you in disbursements. And that's because at the end of each phase, they will come and do an inspection to make sure that the home is being built, that the works are being done according to the plan that you submitted, and the money isn't being used for something else. And specifically with National Bank, each phase of the work plan, the total works need to be costed at $25,000 max. That's the most that the bank will give you. Well, that National Bank will give you for each disbursement. $25,000. So anything within the phase, it has to amount to that. It can be less, but it can't be more than $25,000. The other document that they needed was an appraisal of the land that I was going to build on. For my application, the reason why that appraisal was necessary was because the land, I also included that in my mortgage cost. So they wanted to make sure that I was purchasing land that was valued at what I said it was. So I needed an appraisal of the actual land that I was building on. If you are building on land that you own, some of the documents that you will need to take in is a copy of the title and a zero balance property tax statement. I also needed to submit a zero balance property tax statement for all of the lots that I purchased. So that's something you'll want to keep in touch. I'm sorry, my dogs are down here, so they're kind of shifting the tripod. So yeah, those are the construction phase documents that they will need. And until they have all of that information, and I'll just put it here on screen. Until they have all of this, that's when they will officially begin dispersing the money to you. So when you begin construction, at the end of each phase in your work plan, the bank will come and do an inspection. And the inspection has a fee attached to it. And the inspection is done either by coming physically to the location to make sure that the plan is being followed, everything is on track. Or at the end of each phase, your contractor and your project manager will draft up a report, and that report is submitted to the bank so that they can approve the disbursement for the next phase. And out of the disbursement from the next phase, they'll take out $100 if you're applying with National Bank. They'll take out $100 and they'll take it out whether they come to the site or not. They just want to make sure that you're following the plan, the money is being spent the way that you said it's supposed to be spent, and everything is on track so that you don't run out of money, so that you're not using the funds in another way, all of that. The last phase, when you're finished with everything, you will need to submit an appraisal of the home. And typically the banks will give you recommendations on who you can get the appraisal done with. For National Bank, it didn't matter if I knew somebody who could do it. If that person was not on the list that they provided to me of all the appraisers they work with, then I wouldn't be able to submit something from that person. So I was able to find someone on their list, and the list isn't very long. There are not a lot of persons who do appraisals in Belize that are recognized by banks. When you select someone from that list, they will do the appraisal, and the bank will actually take the cost of the appraisal out of the final disbursement as well. When it's completed, they will refund you the cost for the appraisal. I think the cost for the final appraisal should be $500 if you're applying with National Bank. And so expect to have that cost taken out of your final disbursement. And when they say they'll refund it to you, typically that's the cost the appraiser will charge as well. So when they refund it to you, that's typically the money you'll use to pay the appraiser to have done the appraisal of the home. Some other general facts that you'll need to know when you're building a home is that you want to get an interest rate that is on the reducing balance. Most banks tend to do that here in Belize. At National Bank, my mortgage is set at 8%, and the 8% interest is on the reducing balance. So that means at the end of every month, after I pay the previous month, whatever the current balance is, that's what the interest is applied to. And one of the things you wanna ask your bank is what the early repayment fee is. Typically, there's a penalty if you pay off your loan early. So just read your contract, and also check to make sure that your interest is at a fixed rate. So you don't want it at the market rate, because in the instance where there is, a global recession or inflation, it could be that your bank will change the interest rate because of the local economy, because of the local market. So that's something you want to confirm. Another really good tip is apply for a mortgage during a promotional period. Most banks tend to offer promotions during September because that's our celebration month. So, and that's, back to school month. So there's a lot of banks offering promotions for first-time homeowners during the month of September, during Christmas, during Easter, because people tend to travel and people go away, but they tend to run promotions then. And if you're not sure, you can call the bank and ask, when do you typically have a promotion? And they usually also do promotions for first-time homeowners. So you can ask them that as well. And the promotion is a really good time to apply because the interest rate is typically much, much, much lower. One of the good things about living in Belize is that you don't need to put a down payment for first-time homeowners. So speaking of collateral, I didn't have any collateral. When you're building a home, typically the collateral is the home because it's going to be valued at much higher than what you build it for. So if you don't have any collateral, if you don't have any assets, don't let that hinder you from applying for a mortgage. The home will be your collateral. Because I'm a single person, I don't have much assets. My assets are my home and the land that I have, and my very, very old car, which is worth nothing. But yeah, don't feel like you don't have what it takes in order to apply for a mortgage. Let the bank know exactly what your financial situation or your financial status is, what you have in terms of assets. If you have a co-signer that can work with you, like a spouse or a partner or a business partner or a family member who you can trust, that's fine, but you don't need that. You can go in by yourself like I did. But yeah, that's all of the information that if I had before, I think it wouldn't have taken so long. I would recommend, if you want to expedite the mortgage process, just get all of your documents ahead of time. One last thing that you'd need to know, all of those documents will have a cost. So make sure that you have budgeted for all of the fees that are associated with getting the documents that the bank needs. And that'll help the process to be, as smooth as possible. There won't be any surprises. Yeah, all of that. So I think I will end here because the time on this video is going up by a lot. But let me know if there are any questions related to any of the information that I share. I will try to, as much as possible, get back to you in the comments, so drop them below. If there's another video regarding the building process that you'd like more information on, let me know. I created this series on my channel to be as transparent with this information as possible because, I want to get rid of the stereotype that millennials can't afford a home. In Belize, it's definitely possible if you think outside of the box of what it means to own a home or to own your own place. There are many ways that you can achieve that goal. So yes, that's it from me today. I am now headed to church, which is why I'm dressed like an old Victorian lady. But I will see you in my next one. Bye.